From ABC, this is World News Sunday. Here's Carol Simpson.
Good evening. Hurricane Emily is continuing to bear down on the Carolinas, and forecasters say the storm could hit land within another 36 hours. The question is, where will Emily land? A hurricane watch is now in effect, beginning in Charleston, South Carolina, and extending up the coastline for hundreds of miles. Joining us now is Bob Sheets, director of the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, Florida. What's the latest, Bob?
Well, Carol, the storm has been moving toward the northwest over the last day or so. We're expecting it to turn a little bit more toward the west-northwest. It may be doing that right now, and that means it now is threatening the Carolinas northward through the mid-Atlantic states. And for that reason, we have now put up a hurricane watch for the area north of Charleston all the way up through the Maryland and Delaware coast.
When might the storm reach landfall? Have you decided on that yet?
We try to put the watch up about 36 hours before we expect the center of the storm to cross the coast. So the center will cross in this area somewhere here in about 36 hours. It may brush right along the coast and could even accelerate up into New England. And so we're advising people up there, as well as all of the eastern seaboard there, from the Carolina area northward, to continue to watch what's taking place there.
We haven't talked to you since Andrew a year ago, so the people of Florida are spared this storm at least.
Yes, that is the case. Now, this is not a strong storm like Andrew. We do expect it to strengthen, though, as it gets over the warmer Gulf Stream waters over here. Probably be a strong Category 2 hurricane, possibly up to a Category 3 hurricane. That means winds of about 100 to 110 miles per hour.
Bob, for the people in the hurricane watch area, what precautions should they be taking, if any, now?
Well, basically, those people on the outer banks of North Carolina are already starting to do some evacuations, Ocracoke and some of those places that take a long time to get out of there. The other people are going to have to look at all the actions they need to take, like in preparation kind of things they need to do. Evacuations may be ordered. We'll probably put up warnings for some portion of that area tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you very much. Bob Sheets from the National Hurricane Center. We will be keeping in contact with him closely.
Yeah.
One community that doesn't need much advice in how to prepare for a hurricane is Charleston, South Carolina. It was devastated by a hurricane 4 years ago and isn't taking any chances this time around. ABC's Mike Von Fremd reports.
Right now, Emily is nowhere near as powerful as Hurricane Hugo or Andrew were. But the people here in Charleston are taking this threat more seriously than ever before. Stores are bringing in truckloads of new supplies, and everything is selling out as soon as it hits the shelves. People here have learned from their mistakes 4 years ago.
The only thing we did that time was buy beer.
People now know exactly what they need.
This time we've got water and batteries and flashlights.
Last time, I wasn't prepared. So now, I'm going to get prepared. If it comes, I'm ready. If it don't, I'm still ready.
The South Carolina coast took a direct hit in the middle of the night 4 years ago. The storm caused more than $5 billion in damage. With insurance money and federal help, people have rebuilt in areas like the Isle of Palms, where things are back to normal. But today, residents are doing what they can to protect their homes should Emily hit here with full force.
I'm a little concerned. And that's why we're here trying to board it up, because the house is not even finished yet.
To the north, in areas like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, people were enjoying the good weather, and initially there was not the same degree of concern. But as the storm moves to the north, that is changing. Officials here in Charleston are monitoring the path of the storm and urging residents to keep informed in case there's a need to issue an evacuation order. 4 years ago, 26 people died when Hugo struck. This time, the prevailing feeling is that people will not hesitate to leave if told to do so. Mike Von Fremd, ABC News, Charleston.
ABC News will keep you up to date on Hurricane Emily's progress as events warrant. Coming up, a landmark agreement between Israel and the PLO could provide the first big breakthrough in Middle East peace talks. And later in this broadcast, the Supreme Court may sue this professor for trying to sell tape recordings of its most controversial cases. And with the first family homeward bound, will Martha's Vineyard be able to recover?
World News Sunday, brought to you by Patton Incorporated.
With trusting eyes, the children show minds open, hearts true. our spirits grow. The touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives. The touch, the feel of you, the fabric of our lives.
The good news, diets rich in antioxidants may benefit your long-term health. The bad news, the average diet is not rich in antioxidants. Today's news, Protegra, the new antioxidant supplement that's all antioxidants. More vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. Protegra, with more antioxidant support than you get from a regular multivitamin. To boost your antioxidant levels, even if you take a multivitamin, add Protegra to your daily routine. Protegra, the good news in antioxidants.
After years of virtual deadlock, it appears historic movement is imminent in the Middle East peace process. When those talks resume here in Washington this week, negotiators for Israel and the Palestinians are expected to formalize an agreement that until now was unthinkable. Details from ABC's Dean Reynolds in Tel Aviv.
Israeli cabinet ministers today were hailing what they called a breakthrough in the peace process.
For the first time, we can speak on a timetable on a short period of time to a solution between the Palestinians and Israel.
The agreement reported tonight is the first ever between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, and it would give the people under Israeli occupation more power than they have ever had before. It calls for the Israeli army to withdraw from the Gaza Strip, excluding the Jewish settlements there, and from the West Bank city of Jericho, so that the Palestinians in those locations will have the right to rule themselves.
That is the idea that will enable us to have a breakthrough in the negotiations after 2 years in which there was no breakthrough like that.
Questions of self-rule for the rest of the West Bank and the future of Arab East Jerusalem will be left until later in the peace process. And while a number of Palestinians remain concerned that Israel will never address those issues, much less the question of formal Palestinian independence, reaction from Gaza today was generally positive. Some optimists were actually surveying property in Gaza should Yasser Arafat choose to come and live there.
I totally support this constructive step towards a final solution of the problem.
But there are plenty of obstacles ahead. Right-wing parties in Israel, committed as they are to holding on to the occupied territories forever, are bitterly opposed to the plan.
It's not a matter that the Israeli government has a mandate to decide about it.
A group of extremist rabbis representing settlers from the West Bank today said the agreement was treasonous and warned that a Jewish civil war will result from any move to relinquish control of the territories. Palestinian and Israeli delegations are supposed to meet in Washington later this week to officially sign this agreement, and it is not final until they do. But most Israelis and Palestinians seem to be pulling in the same direction for once, and because of that, the chances for acceptance of this plan are greater than ever. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
The man believed to be the head of a gang which has been smuggling illegal Chinese immigrants into the United States has been arrested by Interpol in Hong Kong. 27-year-old Kwok Ling Kei faces extradition to New York. Police believe he is the so-called dragon head of the New York-based Fuk Ching gang. That group is allegedly responsible for the voyage of that ship which ran aground off New York in June with 300 illegal Chinese aboard. After releasing files on the assassination of President Kennedy, it appears the CIA is planning to make more of its top-secret documents public. The New York Times reports that papers on a number of the CIA's Cold War operations, like the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion, will be released next year. Among the stories coming up when we return, why so many cable TV subscribers are feeling down about rates that are going up.
Who makes the liveliest Mexican dressing? You do. Because now there's Mexican spice from Good Seasons. A unique blend of savory spices bring a lively taste to any salad. New Mexican spice.
From Good Seasons.
This dog food looks totally different from any other dog food I've ever seen.
Pam Lefevre, top breeder of champion English setters, talks about new pedigree mealtime with rice and vegetables.
When you look at the dog food, you see the meaty kibbles plus the rice and the peas and carrots. Pedigree does not have any soy in their dog foods. It's a very balanced diet. The dogs love it. I think that this might be the future of dog food. I would recommend Pedigree to anyone who wants their dog to be happy and healthy.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
Our nearest competitor is twice as likely to have a network outage. But with AT&T 800 service, our unique backup systems keep sales coming in, so you won't be left in the dark. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
The night wraps its naked arms around the earth. Mothers whisper to their children, hush a while. Crickets chirp for quiet in the wood, as if the quiet will do them good. This is the night of a million dreams, as planets spin around our heads. What better place to be in a night like this, safely tucked into our beds? Serta, we make the world's best mattress.
Some people are fussy about their mouth, and some people are very fussy. For them, there's Rembrandt, the low abrasion whitening toothpaste. Over 50,000 dentists have recommended it. And Rembrandt Mouth Refreshing Rinse. 100% alcohol-free, 100% delicious. A splendid way to fight bad breath. For the best for your mouth, there's only one Rembrandt.
The Supreme Court is considering going to court to keep you from hearing the same arguments it heard in more than 20 landmark cases. The target of the High Court's ire is a University of California professor who is planning to sell audio tapes of hearings on a wide range of issues, from the Pentagon Papers to gay rights to school prayer and beyond. The story from law correspondent Tim O'Brien.
The National Archives made tapes of Supreme Court arguments available to political scientist Peter Irons only after he signed this standard agreement pledging not to reproduce the tapes and that they would be used for private research and teaching only. But now Irons wants to sell the tapes along with a book about them for $75.
When I signed the agreement, it was with the understanding that these would be used for education. And they say private education and research. In my opinion, there's no such thing as private education.
Irons says the agreement he signed violates free speech and is contrary to public policy and unenforceable. The audio tapes are of some of the most explosive cases in U.S. history.
We'll hear arguments in number 18, Roe against Wade.
Like Roe versus Wade, the 1973 landmark case establishing a woman's right to choose abortion.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court.
Attorney Sarah Weddington represented Jane Roe, a Texas woman who was pregnant, unmarried, and wanted an abortion.
One of the purposes of the Constitution was to guarantee to the individual the right to determine the course of their own lives.
Weddington's argument that a fetus is not a person seemed to trouble Justice Byron White.
Well, do I get from this, then, that your case depends primarily on the proposition that the fetus has no constitutional rights?
If it were established that an unborn fetus is a person within the protection of the 14th Amendment, you would have almost an impossible case here, wouldn't you?
I would have a very difficult case.
Certainly would.
Irons says the audio tapes will help listeners understand how the court decides cases, like the famous Miranda case requiring police to advise suspects of their rights.
You have a right to remain silent.
Ernesto Miranda, accused of rape, confessed in writing without ever being told he had the right to remain silent.
Is there any claim in this case that this confession was compelled, was involuntary? No, Your Honor.
He doesn't have to have a gun pointed to his head, does he?
Of course he does. So he was compelled to do it, wasn't he, according to your claim? Not by gunpoint. Mr. Justice Black has indicated he was called upon to surrender a right that he didn't fully realize and appreciate that he had.
The justices have been adamantly opposed to allowing their arguments to be broadcast on radio or television and are reportedly furious that tapes of arguments are about to be sold to the public. In a statement, the court said it was considering what legal remedies may be appropriate for this clear violation of contractual commitments. It could turn into a classic First Amendment case, which the justices themselves may ultimately have to decide. The tapes are being sold under the title, "May It Please the Court." On that, the verdict is already in. It will not. Tim O'Brien, ABC News at the Supreme Court.
With rumors continuing to swirl about him, Michael Jackson continued his Asian concert tour in Singapore. Today is the superstar's 35th birthday, and the 45,000 fans crowded into the National Stadium sang happy birthday. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Times today published an interview with Jackson's private investigator. He said that the father of the boy who claims Michael sexually abused him had demanded $20 million to keep the story quiet. This week was supposed to bring a welcome change for cable television subscribers. A new law regulating cable rates goes into effect Wednesday, and it was designed to lower consumer cable bills. But as ABC's Stephen Ogg reports, a lot of cable subscribers are in for a big and unpleasant surprise.
The Raymond family of Marblehead, Massachusetts, thought they were going to pay less for cable TV, but they're going to pay more.
Well, it was clear that what Congress wanted to accomplish was to bring rates down and to impose regulations so rates would come down, and that seemed to be the impression everybody got, that they were going to come down by 10%, but that simply hasn't happened.
The Raymonds get their service from Continental Cablevision, which blames the new Federal Communications Commission rules, under which cable customers must pay for products and services according to what they actually cost.
A low-end user is more likely to see an increase. Someone who just took the lowest level of service that was perhaps subsidized by a higher level of service, who had only one television set connected.
Cable companies say they were able to charge lower prices for basic services because they charged higher prices for remote controls, cable boxes, and additional outlets.
Those rates have been very high. They're now going to be priced closer to cost. And as a balance of that, basic and satellite services will, in some cases, go up.
Cable bills are going to look different, too. Now they just show the price for service and maybe a local tax. Next month's bill should list the individual price for each cable box, remote control, outlet, cable service, franchise fee, and taxes. Listing each cost is a good idea, say consumer advocates.
So if you want to go buy your remote control or buy your converter box somewhere else, not from the cable company, you can do that, and they will create a competitive environment for equipment as well to help drive down costs even further.
With rates for a large number of cable users headed up instead of down, as they've been led to believe, the FCC is bracing itself for an avalanche of complaints. An uncomfortable position for an agency that had forecast a 10% cut in rates. Stephen Ogg, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up next, Dick Schaap with today's sports news. What do you have for us tonight, Dick?
Carol, the Yankees move ahead of Toronto, the Braves close in on the Giants, and a look at Tim Gullickson aiming at another Grand Slam title as Pete Sampras' coach.
They're all angels, but boy, did they make a mess. In my classroom, I have a cabinet full of Brawny. Those thirst pockets are what do the trick. Spill after spill, day after day. At times, I lose it. Sometimes I'd like them to absorb the kids.
Only Brawny has thirst pockets. These unique absorbers make Brawny so good at soaking up spills.
Brawny gets to the mess before the mess gets to you.
So frustrating. I don't know why we can't get the receptor to come. Are you done with
Most people think we make medicines. Actually, our job is to find them.
I'm going to lunch. You coming? No, I want to get this show running. I'll see you down there then.
On the brink of discovery, Glaxo.
Yes, there it is.
You don't cut corners when maintaining the great American home of Henry Ford. The paint these professionals use? Sears Easy Living Interior and Weatherbeater Exterior paints. And right now, you can save up to $4 a gallon. These Easy Living and Weatherbeater paints just $10.99 a gallon. And these Sears Best Easy Living and Weatherbeater paints only $15.99 a gallon. Easy Living and Weatherbeater paints for great American homes like yours.
Ready? Snackwell's chocolate sandwich cookies, our newest way to cut the fat.
Unbelievable. What if I can't bake enough of these? Those women will be after me again.
Relax. Go home.
Hello, Cookie Man. What's in the box?
Snackwells, enjoy them all.
This is delicious bacon.
It's turkey.
Nice and crisp. Louis Rich Turkey Bacon. It's half the fat by Louis Rich. Now I want another bite. I do like it.
Louis Rich Turkey Bacon.
The taste of bacon without all that fat.
Switch to Rich. Louis Rich.
I wouldn't eat regular bacon again.
Monday, day one returns after the Midwest flood, mildew, mud, and raw sewage. But if you think heartbreak is all that's left behind, you're wrong. Day one, Monday.
Now back to New York, Dick Schaap and Sports. Dick?
Thank you, Carol. The best races in baseball got even better today. The Atlanta Braves moved to within 3.5 games of San Francisco. Dave Justice delivering his 34th home run of the season, driving in 3 runs, helping Tom Glavine win his 16th game. And the New York Yankees moved half a game ahead of Toronto, coming back from a 5-run deficit. The key hit, Paul O'Neill's bases-loaded double. The World Series ended today. The World Series of golf, that is, with Fulton Allen of South Africa shooting a 62, breezing to victory by 5 strokes, earning $360,000, far more than he had earned in any previous full year on the PGA Tour. The U.S. Open begins tomorrow, and if the seedings hold up, when the men's final comes around, you'll be seeing a lot of Tim Gullickson, but not on the court. Tim Gullickson wasn't a bad tennis player. He was good enough to knock John McEnroe out of Wimbledon 14 years ago. But he never thought of himself as a great player.
I was very competitive, and I didn't really have a lot of talent per se.
Tim usually did better when he had a partner. He and his twin brother Tom played in the doubles final at Wimbledon 10 years ago. They lost to McEnroe and Peter Fleming. This year, Gullickson had an even stronger partner at Wimbledon, Pete Sampras. Gullickson coached Sampras, and Sampras won the men's singles championship.
I saw Pete down there holding up the trophy, and I saw how happy he was. And, you know, it's really good for me just to be part of it and knowing a little bit that I've helped him in certain ways.
I respect him. I like him. I communicate well with him. And, you know, if you get those things, then the relationship's going to work.
Now, Sampras and Gullickson are getting ready for the U.S. Open. Sampras seeking to regain the title he first won as a teenager 3 years ago, seeking to regain the ranking of #1 player in the world. Like all the coaches who watch their gifted professional pupils from the stands, Gullickson is not allowed to communicate with his player during a match. What then can he do for a player as gifted as Sampras?
He's had such a great arsenal of shots that his main problem is trying to learn how to play percentage tennis and learn how to hit the correct shot at the correct time.
Sampras is not the first great player Gullickson has coached. 5 years ago, he teamed up briefly with Martina Navratilova.
Martina was almost too open-minded. She really took coaching well, but almost too well. You know, it was like whoever talked to her at the last moment, you know, that's what she would carry onto the court with her.
Gullickson knows how precarious the relationship between coach and player can be. Nick Bollettieri and Andre Agassi, a longtime team, went this year. But Tim also knows how much a coach can mean. He was a little-known college player till he met an Air Force officer named Hank Jungle, who became his coach.
Follow that, could you? He sat me down one day, and he told me that in the next couple of years, I was going to be ranked in the top 30 in the world in tennis, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I kind of looked at him like he was crazy.
Gullickson has a strong partner at home, too. His wife, Rosemary, is completing her law school studies, and they have an up-and-coming mixed doubles team. Their children, Eric and Megan.
Here we go. I'm going to serve it up for Eric.
Look for them at Wimbledon in 15 years, if they can find a good coach.
This could be the rally of the century. All right.
Tim Gullickson will also be playing at Flushing Meadow in the over 35s. Sampras has offered him some advice: lose a few pounds. Carol?
Well, that was kind of mean. Thanks, Dick. When we come back, the celebrities even Martha's Vineyard couldn't ignore.
Why is Tux Medicated Pads the brand of hemorrhoid relief hospitals trust most? Because when hemorrhoids flare up, Tux provides soothing, cooling relief on contact. Tux, the brand hospitals trust most.
If 800 service is how you fish for sales, you should know AT&T's nearest competitor is twice as likely to have a network outage. And when that happens, you might not get as many bites. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
100% Colombia. UBAN. Taste the spirit of coffee.
You make me feel so young.
New Promise Ultra, the first fat-free margarine, just 5 calories a serving.
You make me feel so young.
New fat-free Promise Ultra. Get heart smart.
Monday, what you need to know before you check into the hospital.
And then what happens when they make a product America doesn't want?
Plus Garth Brooks on Good Morning America Monday.
Finally tonight, a lot of well-known people vacation on Martha's Vineyard because the people there aren't easily impressed and tend to leave celebrities alone. Tonight, President Clinton ends his 11-day vacation there, a vacation that shattered the vineyard's carefully cultivated reputation for nonchalance. Here's ABC's Bill Greenwood.
The First family's last day started with church services in a neighborhood of quaint Victorian cottages where crowds of well-wishers crammed the streets. These are the same people who pride themselves on ignoring celebrities.
It's been unbelievable. We've seen him 5 times just by accident. Every place we go on the island, he happens to be there.
This afternoon, the president visited a legendary photographer, 94-year-old Alfred Eisenstadt, who'd been stood up twice before. Eisenstadt seemed to appreciate the belated visit, but the president's comings and goings were beginning to wear thin on some people.
It's okay, but we would love for him to go someplace else next year. Block Island. Block Island's nice. Nantucket. Nantucket's nice. Vermont. Vermont's nice.
But the president keeps saying how nice it is here, prompting speculation he might be in the market.
I think it would really be great. There's a lot of remote areas on the island, and for him to get away and to come up here on the island would be great.
This 4-acre estate would be perfect. There's a separate guest house for the Secret Service, a private dock for the Coast Guard, and a reduced price of just $750,000. Sorry about that, Mr. President.
We all know that on President Clinton's salary, he would not qualify for a house of this price range.
There are plenty of houses the president could afford, but estates like the one he's been using can always be borrowed from wealthy Democrats. And while the First family does want to come back, it would be awfully hard to relax like this with a big mortgage to worry about. Bill Greenwood, ABC News, Martha's Vineyard.
Once again, tonight's top story, residents along the mid-Atlantic coast are bracing themselves as Hurricane Emily continues towards landfall somewhere between South Carolina and Delaware. The National Hurricane Center expects Emily to pick up strength tonight and tomorrow and hit land within 36 hours. ABC News will keep you up to date on the storm's progress with continuing coverage overnight.
2, 3. I love this place. All right, we're ready to go.
Chrysler LHS so impresses the critics they praise it wherever they go. To the ballpark, to the theater. But with its driver and passenger airbags, ABS and traction control all under $30,000, they most often praise it all the way to the bank. Chrysler LHS, the American luxury car, is now in the fast lane.
See your local Northwest Chrysler Plymouth dealer.